Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and we are back talking about Love is Blind Season 3, Episodes 10, 11, and 12 today.
Which I'm still upset about because I thought it was only supposed to be 10 and 11. So to do a 3-episode drop at this point in the game, when they already sprung us with 6 episodes in the pods to start it off, I'm a little upset. I'm a little testy.
Same. I feel like we could have eliminated at least half an episode.
From this 3?
From this 3, there's too much footage of people just staring at each other and saying nothing.
Here's the trick. Half of the last episode, episode 12, was wedding day stuff for one of the couples. So that should have been in the next chunk of episodes anyway.
Yes, we could have gotten rid of a whole episode.
So you could have cut out the other half of that episode or worked that back into the other previous 2 episodes. I think they just had some leftovers.
A lot of complaints about the editing this season.
It's not my favorite.
No, they just had a lot of songs that they were trying to fit into everything.
You know, that's what it was. They overspent on the music budget for this season, and they are getting their money's worth. They are dropping it in. We're going to do a montage every 5 minutes after every single sequence just to show you what's going on with the other couples.
Right. They paid for I Got a Feeling, so they got to play it. As soon as it started, I was like, stop.
DJ Roomba.
There's no way. And there was. Nick Lachey was like, that's a personal favorite of mine. I think we got to make sure it's in this season.
A personal favor I have to call in with will.i.am.
I don't think that Nick Lachey has any connections in the music industry anymore.
Not anymore? You don't think so? We saw all of his major awards when we recapped, what was that episode of?
The Newlyweds.
The Newlyweds, yeah. That was way back in the day. I don't know. He's got a lot of ins. You don't just lose those contacts. Don't just lose those numbers. It's not like dating somebody in the pods.
All right. Who do you want to start with? Do you want to introduce Joey and Monica? Because you've been practicing a little something.
I've been working on my Joey voice. And let me tell you.
Okay, now we need Monica to come on the show so she can tell us if it's the experience of being in the pods.
This is the pod. A lot of you don't know, but it is.
I feel like they're cheating us of more footage of the two of them together. Like, I'm very torn over what's going on between this couple because they seem to get along really well, but then we don't see them have a lot of serious conversations.
That's the point that this couple is at, where if they're not having major issues of something that they have to work through, are they having serious conversations though? Or is it still just that lovey-dovey, pave over everything, gloss over everything, everything's fine and fun and good, and you're not really doing a deep evaluation of this relationship?
See, and I worry because I think that that's Monica's default setting, which goes back to the toxic relationship that she has with her sister.
People pleasing is what Monica's main agenda is.
And we see Miss Nicole again.
She's back to gift them with a private photo sesh.
Okay, you made it sound like it was for like an OnlyFans.
Wow.
It's their engagement photos.
Sign up using discount code.
Okay, now it's getting ridiculous.
Joey Nuts. Like, Joey Balls.
Like Daniel Balls.
Like Daniel Balls. Yeah,
no,
Danny.
This is Joey Nuts.
Danny Balls, Joey Nuts.
So she watches them in this photo shoot as the photographer. And I actually think this is a really good way to get to see them interact as a couple together. Because if you've ever watched Married at First Sight and seen the very uncomfortable photo shoots that occur there, if two people don't have chemistry, asking them to take intimate photos,
well,
maybe not that intimate. Engagement photos together.
Yeah. It's hard to get engagement if there's no connection.
So this kind of changed her entire perception of their relationship.
Why did this career path make so much sense for Monica's sister, where she just gets to boss people around and tell them what to do? It just made a little bit too much sense and tracked in line with her personality from the moment that we met her.
As long as there are no babies or animals in the photos, then I think she does okay. Otherwise, I don't know that she's able to establish the fun environment that needs to get babies and animals to cooperate for long periods of time in photos.
A lot of landscapes, a lot of still life.
She's not used to working with people.
And now exclusively engagement sessions with people who just met a few weeks ago.
Oh, maybe we can have Olivia Plath photograph the wedding.
Oh, that could be fun. Do you think that she would be available? I don't know if Love is Blind could afford her.
She was in Minnesota. I don't know about this period of time. She may have already broken up with Ethan.
Yeah, that divorce was finalized, even though it didn't take.
Didn't take. Still waiting for it.
Still working on it.
There is still one concern left for Nicole, which is the energy levels. It seems like Joey is very high energy, very fun all the time. And Monica likes to take naps. That's going to be a real point of contention in this relationship.
Monica doesn't really seem low energy to me. She's not like a sloth napper where she has to sleep 20 hours a day. It seems like she has very high bursts of energy and then she needs to recuperate by napping and then is just constantly in that cycle, that flow.
Yeah, the way that she talked about it, I thought that is she Amber Portwood? Is she just permanently attached to her living room couch? That's not really what we're seeing. And they talked about the napping thing, their first date. So they got that out of the way.
Now they get to go do awesome fun dates like going to the conservatory and eating 8 pounds of sushi.
Why was it so much sushi?
It was because I feel like Joey had a bad day at work and I order my specialty. I go in and I ask for 8 pounds of sushi.
It was like a ring of sushi that he consumed.
So much. There was a lot of sushi and a lot of it was gone by the time that conversation had ended.
The conservatory, the flowers were beautiful, but the seating?
Seating left something to be desired.
I'm going to have back problems, sciatica after this. They just bought little seat cushions, like, what you would take with you on Spirit Airlines, that you have a chair. But there was no back.
Chair. That is the chair, unfortunately.
It would just put it on the stone and take a seat.
Well, that's it. Carly looked over at me and she goes, "Is that where they're supposed to be sitting?" I don't know. That's where they put the ass mattress. So I guess, yeah.
It seemed very uncomfortable. I would be rushing through the conversation to get out of there.
They were here for several hours. The sun was out when they sat down, and then it was dark by the time they left.
I remember the one time we went to a conservatory and I didn't see anything because I wore glasses and they fogged up the entire time.
It was raining that day. Your glasses had rain on them, so there was already water accumulation, or it was cold out too because, hey, it's Chicago. So as soon as we stepped foot in there, glasses just fogged up.
Never saw anything.
Couldn't see it.
Had to remove them.
We did not have 8 pounds of sushi, though.
They keep giggling all throughout this date. And that's where I'm not sure if there is this deep connection with each other or if they keep leaning on the giggling because they don't know where to bring the conversation from there.
It's the 7-year-old met you on the playground, will you be my girlfriend kind of energy.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed because it feels as though they're having deep conversations. They keep talking about I'm intelligent, you're intelligent, we have great conversation.
The serious,
but we aren't seeing it.
Yeah, the serious side that isn't happening on camera very often.
We're watching them toss pepperonis onto a pizza. That's what we're getting.
From range, from orbit, basically, is what Joey's going for here. He's going for the record. He's looking to get sponsored by Red Bull. Shucking those pepperonis, man.
Is that something that Red Bull will sponsor you for? Is he going to the X Games?
I don't think it's stopped them from sponsoring anything.
That's all I have for them aside from their shopping for the wedding. Is it shopping? It's trying on dresses and suits.
Oh, the leg.
Okay.
How could we skip over the leg?
There's no way we're just breezing past that like everyone else did. Monica tries on her dress and she chooses something with a very high slit. This is a thing.
It's a personal choice.
I'm not against it. You want to show that leg at your wedding? You got great legs. I'm jealous. Long, lean legs. Not me. What I do not want is to be flashed again, Monica.
I didn't know what I had signed up for with this episode.
You didn't see it at first. I was like, go back.
Well, I saw her thigh.
I just saw
her leg.
Freshly waxed.
Oh my. Yeah. I mean, that was what was going on. Either that or I really hope that there was some flesh tone underooskies that were going on there.
I didn't see anything. What it looked like to me was she had her mic pack ace bandaged to her other leg, which makes sense because if you're trying on dresses, you can't have the mic pack around your waist. And then there was no clear line of delineation that there was any underwear going on. And if they were nude, they were a perfect match.
I mean, 1 for 1. Whoever did that match at Home Depot deserves a raise if you're taking that paint sample in.
Hasn't somebody else flashed us on Love is Blind before? Why do I feel like this has been experienced in the past?
Well, we did get a lot of Molly's nipple piercing in the pod episodes.
It wasn't this season. It was another season.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, Molly, what kind of dress do you think she would have chosen? When we have seen the nipple?
The nipples making a return.
The nipple rings.
Well, they did come back.
Through the dress.
Well, it came back. The one side, at least.
Yeah. We can confirm there's at least one.
Definitely one.
Joey, in the meantime, he chooses a blue suit. He's between something that's like a medium blue and a light blue. And he makes the choice I was hoping he would not go with.
Purple blue or powder blue?
I said, but your hair is too long to go with the powder blue. It's going in the direction of Dumb and Dumber. That's what it's giving right now.
He was very close. Yeah, Jeff Daniels, very close.
Will he wear socks from the communal sock bin to the wedding? That is the real question.
I know for a fact that Joey will never be placing a sock from the communal sock bin on his foot. And that is something I can agree upon.
So do you think that these two are going to go through with getting married?
This is a tough one. This is one that I'm still struggling with.
I don't know either because I just feel like they haven't given us enough footage to react to.
I could see this being a mixed review one. So one says yes and one says no, but it's...
What I can see being possible is that Monica's sister gets inside of her head at the last minute. But I also don't know that Joey seems completely sold on this.
Everything that we're seeing is that it's setting us up for a yes from both of them. But I don't trust it entirely at this point. So I'm worried. I'm nervous, cautiously optimistic. And I just hope that they have sushi at the reception.
Couple that we know are definitely going to say yes to each other. Daniel and Taylor.
Hello. No
They have
drama.
had nothing go on since she thought that he followed her on Instagram and didn't.
Shocking, really. The
I'm
revelation.
still perplexed, though, by how accurate her description of the picture on his Instagram was.
Throw out 5 things about Christmas that you can think of. Christmas decor, specifically.
I don't think that it comes down to that. She mentioned that he was sitting in a chair with his leg crossed, that he was in front of a Christmas tree, was what she described, but he was in front of a fireplace.
That had Christmas trees on it. What I'm saying is a lot of the descriptors that she's giving of a profile photo of a Christmas card, you're not too far off from just describing a generic Christmas card.
Is that what their relationship is?
Couldn't be specifically his.
They're a Shutterfly holiday card.
They are a template. They're the people in the photo album or the photo frame that you buy before you take that out and actually place the photo in that you purchased it for.
I'm kind of wondering, did Taylor stalk his Instagram at some point? Because the followers app did not show that he had followed her in the past, but did she come across his profile and take a look at it?
Anyone with a deep love of Christmas, I'm sure that's something that Taylor would take an interest in. She's going to thumb through those selfies, you know? She's going to take a little look, take a little peek, give it a little once over.
She was adding them to her spank bank.
Her
Just
Christmas,
guys in front of Christmas.
Yeah, her Christmas spank bank.
Decor.
Dick decor.
All right, they're going mini golfing. That's where we meet them at the beginning of this episode.
Right, because this is when we meet.
We met no one when they meant mini golfing.
Oh, we did. We met a persona. We met Danny Balls.
We met Danny Balls.
Yes, that we are introduced to Danny Balls.
Yeah, he's good at golfing. Mini golfing,
Putt-putt.
guess. Putt-putt? Is that what this is? I don't know.
Putt-putt is different than mini golf.
I'm very bad at all of these things.
See, I'm bad at getting the hole-in-one, but I'm really good at getting it in 2 shots. I can line that up,
Well, you'll
get
beat
close.
me, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can get close for the first one and then secure a easy second shot.
What I took away from that date was watching the two of them effortlessly interact is very different from the other couples.
This is a natural chemistry that you're seeing between two people who have a lot of shared interests, who have a lot of shared beliefs and ideologies and the way that they view the world, interact with the world, and have an approach to social events together.
One of my observations is that the couples I think are not going to stay together rely on talking about the pods a lot. If you can't get past what happened in the pods and pod conversations because it's now awkward in person, that's a red flag. And they're not doing that. They're making jokes. They're discovering things about one another.
They are coming up with new material because the good sign of a good relationship is riffing the bits, if you know what I'm saying. And what I mean by that is that if they're going to throw something out there that's kind of funny or make a joke, and then you can add to that.
We're doing improv.
Yeah, that's basically the basis of this interpersonal relationship that you're about to embark upon here. And so if you can do that, and it looks like they are able to do that pretty effectively.
Yeah, it's not a good sign if you continually talk about things that happened in the past because you have nothing to talk about moving forward. And that is not what we're seeing here. So I'm feeling good about this couple.
Or the vagaries of the future where you're just idealizing what your future looks like, but there's no real goals or strategies or anything that's implemented, or you're not on target to accomplish anything that would get you to that place.
Well, let's not oversell this too much about them because they do have a Christmas themed photo shoot for their wedding.
Well, I like that. This is the vision that they had for this. This was the future that they had together, planned, and they're taking the steps to implement that. That's progress. That's working together. You're already building your Christmas life together.
It's the only thing that they care about all year long.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
It is a Hallmark movie. I'm thinking about the
basic white people and you just plop them in with enough Christmas stuff. They'll fall in love.
I'm thinking about her vows that we started to hear at the end of this. So the teaser for the next episode where she's talking about how her husband, she never thought was in Minnesota. And it is like a Hallmark movie that you had to go all the way to the wild and crazy land of LA to find your man.
Into the pods. Yeah, he wasn't in Minnesota. He was in LA in a pod. So there you go. What else did they do? They had the hockey date. Well, not hockey. It was ice skating. I was wishing that it would be like the date from Happy Gilmore where they turn the lights down real low in the rink and just bring the spotlight on and play Endless Love.
I guess they didn't have the full vision, huh?
They didn't get there. They didn't have the rights to that song because, I mean, that's a banger.
She is very good at skating. And I thought this was a dangerous activity to do right before you're about to get married.
Okay, what's more dangerous is placing a dining table at center ice and not having a rug to get out there and making people walk out with their shoes on.
Okay, they had skates on. So why did they have them remove them before they sat down to eat? And then also, apparently this entire production team, there's no one local from Minnesota and no one has ever been to a hockey game ever because they put carpets out for people.
Because even if you didn't want it in the shot, you want it to look like they're on an island in the middle of center ice. Okay, roll a carpet out just so they can get out there and then retract it.
Right, I don't need to watch them walk over to the table.
No, but I do now because there is a chance that somebody will slip and break their leg. So I need to see every second of this.
It was terrifying.
But they're Minnesotan, and this is kind of in their natural form.
They can do it.
They're walking on ice. It's not the first time.
Give them a few drinks. They'll be able to do this a little tipsy, too.
They're going to slide out to center ice on their bellies like a couple of penguins.
I have no more notes from that because the conversation is just normal. They're like milk toast. It's not very interesting.
Milk toast?
Yeah, you've never heard that expression?
No, I don't think I have. Because I'm not milk toast. I'm not milk toast. So I've never heard that.
Let's talk about them going shopping. Why am I continuing to call it shopping?
Because of the Mall of America letdown that the bachelorette party was.
Get it out of my mind.
They did not get a shopping spree as Carly was demanding repeatedly on the couch watching.
I am so mad that the men went to like the Vikings training facility, which has to cost thousands of dollars for them to rent out. They got custom jerseys. And then the women get to ride the carousel at the Mall of America dressed as elderly women.
I'd say that was
and you heard that right if you're not watching. That is what happened.
That was the theme. They had a theme in mind.
The mall was not even open anymore. There was no shopping. They didn't get to go to the food court. They didn't do anything fun.
I was hoping they would at least get a nice food court chicken teriyaki, the Sakio Japan. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. This the night before the wedding.
I need the clamshell styrofoam dish with the fried rice with just the little peas and the little tiny square carrots in it. And then throwing those chicken thighs out on the big flat top grill, chop them up, get the sauce all over it.
Oh, is this a spiritual experience for you to watch
extra
mall
scoops.
Teriyaki get made?
A couple extra scoops of sauce because I like the sauce.
No, they weren't risking it because they're getting married tomorrow. Or at least some of them are. I'm unclear. Do they all get married on the same day? That would have to be impossible.
There's no way that they're paying for this venue for multiple days.
At one point, Virginia and Devin mentioned that their wedding date was March 18th.
18th.
That was a Monday.
Whatever the Monday was.
That was a Monday.
Because we looked it up and we were like,
You got married on Monday?
It's cheaper on Monday, I bet you.
Did they do the weddings all weekend? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? I would be like, I don't want Monday. Just forget it. I'm not even getting married anymore. Call it off.
I think most of the budget went to the music. The other half of the budget went to the Vikings training facility. And so they only had one day for the venue, and it had to be a Monday because that was cheaper. They're looking to turn them and burn them here. They've got everybody in their own rooms who are ready to go, and then they're just swapping people out. It's a quick turn. They're just resetting the space, get the new audience in here. Mom and dad, you're on this side. Friends and fam, you're on that side.
We've got an hour.
Let's go. The clock's ticking. Yes or no? It's up to you.
Oh my God. Well, where were we? We were talking about Taylor picking her wedding dress. This is my red flag for them, is that Taylor's mom is going to be a problem.
Taylor's mom has got it going on in all the wrong ways. It's bad. It's real bad. I don't like it.
The first dress that she tried on and she walked out in, you could tell Taylor loved it. She was happy.
She was glowing.
Excited. She liked it when she looked at herself in the mirror. And then her mom comments on the fact that there's a lot of cleavage. There's a lot of boobs. The girls are out. Maybe we find something a little more modest.
And so she goes, oh, okay, I'll go try on the other one. And immediately goes back to change. There was an audible reaction when she came out in the first dress. People could see it. That looks like her dress. It kind of looked like the same shape and form of her reveal dress that she had. There was a little va-va-voom that was going on upstairs.
Oh,
on
yeah.
that one.
Wait till they see the Christmas card. Her mom's not going to be happy.
Gonna have
because the girls are out there.
An Elaine Bennis Christmas card. If Monica's sister's doing the photography for it, maybe. I don't know.
The second dress, you can't see any titty. Nothing. Not even a little bit of the top of her cleavage. Nothing.
It looks like Optimus Prime's head is on her chest. I don't like it. The angles, the sharp angles, the pointies.
It's very constricting.
She doesn't look like she's going to have a good time in this dress.
I guess she liked it. She was talking it up to herself at the end, but there was a very different experience from the first dress.
She should have gone with number one, and I think she was to appease her mother. She had to pick something that her mom approved of, and that was number two.
I worry that once these two are married, there's going to be disagreements between the way Taylor and Daniel choose to do things or life decisions that they make and what her mom thinks they should do. And I don't think that we've gotten over that yet. There hasn't really been a serious conversation about it.
That was my suspicion, though, too, was that maybe that's why Taylor jumped into this sort of experiment to make her own decision for once on something and not take other people's opinions into account so heavily. Again, I'd like to just throw out there that therapy would be great for this. You should probably work through that. There's some enmeshment here that you can probably analyze and take some lessons away from here.
Everyone on this show needs to get a BetterHelp subscription when they finish.
Maybe something with some more teeth than BetterHelp, I think, for some of these
I think
folks.
we need to go in office
yeah,
multiple times a week.
in person.
Dave. Should we move on to Dave?
Old Davy boy is up to his old tricks, just as I suspected.
You were not kidding when you predicted once this man got his phone back, he would turn into a monster.
Okay, I was wrong that he was banging Molly, though, because not even Molly wants him at this point.
Not for lack of trying. I think he would fuck Molly if she was interested.
He would. She's not interested, though.
Yeah.
That's
that's
only
the barrier.
That's the only thing that's preventing this from happening. He would have.
Where we left them last week was that they were not doing very well. They're still disagreeing over the facts of Lauren's past relationship, which she says was not a relationship. It was just a hookup.
A hookup that lasted longer than David is comfortable mentioning, because now Lauren's pH levels are all out of whack, and he can just sense that about her. There's something wrong with her.
Are we going to see him on, I was going to call it Becoming Sister Wives, and that is not the name of the show.
That's different. Seeking?
Seeking Sister Wife. Thank you.
We're going to have a cool down period between partners for your lady femininity that's going on over there.
So he went out with his friends. They were supposed to come over and meet Lauren, and instead he went out with them, left her alone, didn't show up until, he didn't even show up. He got home around 3 a.m. from whatever bars he was at. He went bar hopping with them.
He did not come home.
His phone died.
He did not come home.
According to him. No.
Yeah.
He went to his place.
To his apartment.
Right.
So he did not come home.
Home,
Yeah.
in quotes. He went back to that place with a couch.
He had the
futon.
The blanket. He went back to his blanket.
And his busted up dresser.
And his pimp hat in the closet. He probably put it on for a little bit.
Sweet home.
Yeah, kick your feet up to that.
He basically ghosted her and shows up 3 o'clock the next day.
2:30, 3
Something
o'clock.
like that. Late afternoon.
Didn't even bring lunch, which I'm upset about.
Didn't show up with anything. Empty-handed.
Empty-handed. If you're going to roll up the next day after an argument, you better be bringing bagels. You better be bringing something. If you didn't spend the night here and there's been a disagreement, you better come bearing gifts.
Mm-hmm. And he did not.
Didn't provide.
No. She already knows what's been going on. I think this is a small city and that people have been texting her. Because when he starts mentioning where he was at, he recalls the name of the first bar that he went to.
And a couple other places.
Just kind of skips over the details there. She lets him get away with it as he tells his story. And then a few minutes later, she's like, wait, sorry, where did you say you went? And that is because this girlie already knows that he was at bar location number 2, where Molly was.
Molly Percocet is back in action here.
He does admit, after he almost got caught, that Molly was at the second place, but that he didn't talk to her.
Someone else from the cast who has never been shown in any of the footage ever, maybe was one of the random people in the pod episodes who just happened to be out in the lounge with other people for moral support, had recognized him there and was trying to introduce him. Hey, Molly's here. She's over in this other part of the bar. You want to go hang out with her? And he thought to himself, that's probably a bad idea. Not a great look for me to be arguing with my fiance, not being at home with her, not working on our relationship, being in this difficult spot where I'm judging her based on her previous encounters with other people in the dating scene. I don't think it'd be good for me to go talk to Molly.
I'm a good guy, so I'll sit this one out.
Yeah, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we're going to hold on to that information.
Not that he's a good guy. It's just I know better than to get myself into that situation because I know how that'll look. That'll make me look bad. I want to do it, but I can't let people know that I want to do that.
Okay, I have a theory, much different. He could not go meet Molly because he was already sucking another girl's face in the bar.
I don't think so.
What? Later on, we find out that Molly says there was another girl hanging all over him the whole time he was there.
Oh, that's true.
I think he met her first, and so then he couldn't ditch her to go hang out with Molly, and Molly wasn't interested anyway. I'm not giving him any credit.
That wasn't a sign of restraint in any way, shape, or form?
No.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Why is Lauren still trying to make this work? Because they go to meet her mom.
Why are you subjecting your mom to this? Don't do that, Lauren. I'm losing respect for Lauren by the minute as this show continues on.
Do you think she needed a second opinion? Like she thought there's something wrong with this guy. I don't think it's going to work out, but I'd like you to meet him and tell me what you think. He doesn't just meet her mom. He meets her dad too, but her dad doesn't want to be on camera.
Off camera. Which then that only makes things worse with Lauren, because then Lauren is still asking, why can't I meet your family? Even if it is off camera, I need to talk to these people, your friends, your family, people in your life who are influencing your decision over our relationship so much, and I don't get a say in it.
So maybe she's trying to make a point that her dad also didn't want to be on camera because that's his excuse about some of his family.
Yes.
So you did get to meet him off camera. You also met my mom. So can I meet anyone who's biologically related to you?
Dave's excuses are very strange. And I'm starting to worry that this sister that he keeps referring to is just David in a wig with lipstick. He's doing a
She's fictional.
He's doing a full Norman Bates where he's just muttering to himself about all these great things that he wishes that he'll be able to do with his life and all of the high hopes and standards that he has that he's never able to accomplish.
The sister whose time he doesn't want to waste, because that's his new reason why he won't introduce her to Lauren.
We're getting dangerously close to that sort of an interaction.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling about his sister, which I had a friend who used to do this, who would always blame things on her mom. Like whenever she had a differing opinion or she was doing something that maybe didn't make a lot of sense, she would say, oh, my mom said this. Her mom never said any of that shit. It was just if my mom said it, you can't question it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I think Dave is doing with, it's not me, it's my sister saying this stuff.
Because we do get to a certain point where at the bowling alley, they're kind of heading towards a breakup conversation.
The rage that this man feels when he talks about having met her dad and how her dad had the nerve to say something to him about how it didn't seem like he's ready to get married when she was hooking up with some other guy the night before she came on the show, which she continues to say is not how it happened. He was holding on to that. He wasn't going to bring it up on camera.
Well, he didn't want to bring it up at the bowling alley because then that would ruin a lot of his good associations with bowling, even though he shits on his friend who has his own bowling ball, his own bowling shoes, and is really good at bowling.
I know you were personally wounded by that.
He's such a nerd. I'm sorry, David. I didn't know it was illegal for people to have a personal interest in something and excel at it.
Yeah, how is his friend going to feel when he hears him call him a loser on Love is Blind?
David doesn't have any friends. I think that's the problem.
That he claims to.
He claims
They're just people he meets at bars.
He has a lot of douchebag bros that he spends time around, picking up women with, but they're not friends. Not in the way that you or I would refer to people as friends. So he has to remove them from, he doesn't want to break up with her at a bowling alley. That feels very junior high. So he takes her to an adjacent and abandoned, apparently, movie theater. Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs down on this breakup.
Much better. Feel much more comfortable here.
At least the lights are on, I guess.
I would have made him break up with me in public so that it's more uncomfortable for him.
Oh, so that there are witnesses, too.
I'm getting petty now.
That's my other fear is don't let him take you to a second location. Come on, Lauren.
Yeah, come on, girl.
He was testing your resolve at that point. He was saying, I don't want to have this conversation here. It's that power move of moving the location of the meeting at the last second to throw you off. He already scoped out the space and prepared himself to have this conversation over here.
That happened when he showed up at the apartment after he had gone missing because they just sat down and nobody would speak first.
I'm declining to speak first.
He's getting all of his moves from Michael Scott.
He's checked the Wikipedia on power moves for negotiation.
They just kind of mutually agree that this isn't working. If
Kind
he's not
of?
gonna...
Kind of.
Do you think she was sad? I think she was sad because she hoped that he would actually make some effort. She didn't even get a chance to introduce herself to anyone that he knows.
Well, that was the weird part, is that it's David blaming Lauren for a lot of the downfall of this, but then also it's everything that he can't deal with. So how is that Lauren's fault? Because it seems like most of it is on your approach to this and your reactions and lack of trying to resolve anything here.
Does he have a moment of self-awareness? Because when he's outside, he tells the producers that it really came down to it being an issue with his own ego, that he couldn't think about the fact that Lauren had been with somebody else and now they were engaged.
Well, now he's just blaming purity culture at this point.
Ding, ding, ding.
Which I mean, we had him pegged for, but it was just, it kind of looked like it clicked with him where he did have sort of a reaction where he realized what he was saying as he was saying it, but it was also too late because you've kind of already burned the bridge now.
I'm not sure what's going on with Dave, but my guess is he goes from relationship to relationship. I don't even think they're really relationships.
No.
It's like he barely gets to know someone and he finds something wrong with them. And then he takes that with him and goes, okay, I do not want someone who in any way, shape, or form holds this quality again. I guess we're looking for a virgin now, because the fact that there was any past relationship with someone that he knew, he just found too disturbing to get past.
Gonna have to go hang out with Alex.
Uh-oh. We can't talk about Alex anymore.
Uh-oh.
Alex, they do not do any kind of background checks, references, anything on anyone on this show, and you will not convince me otherwise.
Big problems.
You would think this is the end of seeing Dave and Lauren since they've broken up, but there's the mixer where the whole group gets together. Is that like, should I not be using the word mixer?
That's
is that like
basically what it is.
I feel like that's just like a dated term.
The fucking Catalina wine mixer?
Okay. They're going to a bar on a Thursday night in Minneapolis, and they're going to meet up with everyone from the cast.
They're tube sledding, and then they're going to go get wasted at the bar.
The tubing looked fun.
It did.
Lauren shows up to that first. She's thinking, I'm never going to talk to Dave ever again. Like, he pretty much ghosted me when we were in a relationship together, so I don't think that I'll ever see that human being ever again. Molly's there. So Lauren and Molly get together and they chat a little bit. That's when she finds out about Molly's side of the story of what happened at that bar the other night.
See,
and they have a good laugh.
It's great that you trust Molly and everything that she says, but may I remind you that her interpretation of some things that happen in the pods that we saw on camera wasn't entirely accurate.
Okay, I agree with that. But the thing I think is different is Molly is no longer interested in him. She took a look at his photos when she got her phone back. She checked out Instagram, dodged a bullet, not into him.
She referred to them as his selfies on Instagram, but unfortunately, most of them are not selfies. Someone took that photo of him, and they're weird. It's just him in the photo.
I can't claim to be an expert on these things, but
you got to make your account private at some point. You would have to do that, especially if you're going to go on this type of a show.
Yeah, why aren't they doing that? Or did she request him? He immediately accepted.
Probably. That's what happened. That's how we almost had a missed love connection between Mason and Meg, because Mason couldn't find Meg on Instagram, and then she eventually messaged him, and that was how they were able to make a connection outside of the pods.
The only interesting things that happened at this was Molly showing up, and then Alex, Madison, Meg, and Mason all showing up as well, because we had to watch them in the pods for so long only to see none of them get engaged.
But now Mason and Meg are together. They're hanging out is what they're saying. So nondescript.
This is where I feel like if you're not sure on this show, it's not the end of the world to not get married. Clearly, you can message someone after, and if you both mutually want to continue to explore the relationship, you can. So that's what they've done. Madison is there. She's very shitty.
She's bitter.
She's spending the whole time talking to Lauren, who I think was ready to just go find Dave and try to work things out so she didn't have to talk to Madison anymore. Because Madison is completely rewriting history about what happened in the pods.
Madison's coming up with a whole different iteration of things. the things that Alex said to her in their breakup, which I am not here to defend Alex by any means, but a lot of the things that she was saying are not really the way things went down.
I mean, that's not what we heard getting said.
Yeah, not word for word. So she's seeing it through a lens. She's applying her filter on it, and she's kind of twisting some stuff. Was that the general message that was conveyed? Maybe that was how she interpreted it, yes. But I don't think that was what was said word for word. And we have most of that on camera as far as what was shown in the episodes.
I'm annoyed that we're going to have to see them again because I'm pretty sure Madison will make sure she shows up to the reunion and that she gets some type of like villainess moment.
Yeah, and there were a couple people at one of the weddings in the audience too. I think that was Meg and
Lauren went to Ben and Sarah's wedding.
Yep.
All right, before we move on from this though, I do want to talk about how Dave got fucking wasted and tried to get back with Lauren.
Okay, yeah. And then he also put on his Nosferatu jacket to sit out by the fireside to tell us all about this entire encounter that took place. It was a dark time.
I guess he kind of apologized to her.
Not really.
No, I'm giving it a little too much credit. He was also so drunk that he was slurring all of his words.
Everything was slurred. You would have to realize as Lauren at this point, this dude's barely going to remember this conversation. He doesn't know anything of what sort of exchange is happening. I just need to get out of this conversation. So she lets him go on a little bit. He's still blaming her for things. And then when she's confirming that's not really how that went down, and he's going, yeah, and I don't want you to think that it was that way. But you literally just said that it was my fault in that way. I was countering it, and then now you're reassuring me that no, I wouldn't ever want you to think that it was that way. So his gaslighting skills severely decline the more alcohol he consumes.
Well, thank God for that, because I was worried for Lauren.
I thought she was going to go back with him for a second. So thank our lucky stars that Dave got drunk enough to really reveal his true colors, to the extent that Lauren was able to reach this conclusion on her own that we're done, man. It's over.
Devin and Virginia?
You going to make me sign a prenup about it, or?
I wish we spent more time with them because there's actually shit going on.
There's drama here.
The first big thing that happens is she is practically begging him to ask him more hard questions. There has to be more that you need to know about me. We're only, a couple weeks out from the wedding? I think this was the first episode. So they were 2 weeks out from the wedding still. Time is a ticking. What else do you need to know about me? Can't think of anything.
Nothing. I'm very comfortable with you, laying in the bed next to you. I've never been this comfortable with anyone before. It's just so easy to get along. Clearly, Virginia had stuff that she wanted to bring up. I'm thinking maybe some of his family members friended her on Facebook.
She got a little look-see at the things that are being posted.
Took a quick little scroll through the feeds.
Keep your business off of Facebook. That's a lesson for everybody.
And she does bring it up. Eventually, what about politics?
Turns out they're not really aligned on that. They keep talking about how they're so fully aligned on everything. But the conversation they had with his mom really made her think okay, so faith is a big part of their family. They talked about that a lot, their belief in God. How do you all vote? Because faith is important to me too, but when I vote, I don't vote based off of those values in the same way that a lot of conservative people do.
Traditional conservative values through religion, mixing religion and politics. Another reason why we should probably not do that.
He is so evasive. He doesn't want to talk about it.
I cannot stand it with the men on this show who their response to politics is, I don't really get into that. It's not really my thing. I don't really pay attention to that. Drives me nuts.
Look, I'm just going to say it. You're a black man living in Minneapolis after George Floyd. You have no opinions about politics, huh? Nothing?
Nothing comes to mind?
When you go to vote, there's no issue that may guide you in what direction you're going to vote.
Virginia really tries to get a reaction out of Devin here. She starts talking about Roe v. Wade, which at that point was not overturned. I don't think.
No, it was. It was
Okay,
like
maybe it was.
2022.
Oh, that was that episode of SVU when they said...
Okay, not what it came to my mind. I thought you were going to talk about the episode
remember?
of Teen Mom Next Chapter where they talked about it when they went on the girls' trip. Or was that
Oh,
like
the
their
girls'
family reunion?
Well, we were just watching an episode of SVU where they were like, as far as last time I checked, Roe v. Wade was still being upheld. And it was like, oh, no, yeah, this is outdated
that
now.
Aged like milk.
So there you go. And I mean, Virginia's really trying to get a reaction out of him. She keeps saying abortion over and over again. And you can see Devin retreating into his mind because he knows this is a danger zone. This is dangerous. I don't know what I'm liable to say here. I can't have opinions. Maybe I can ask a question. And so he asks some questions a little bit. They're still kind of dancing around it. He is shut down now.
That's what I have in my notes. He completely shut down. Didn't want to talk about anything else, which, look, if this is something that you feel passionate about, Virginia, these are values and things that are important to her that she wants her partner to also feel passionate about. This is not a good sign that he doesn't even want to engage in the conversation. There really was no resolution to this conversation.
Maybe they solved it in the prenup. Did they already establish that? Who's going to be, what their voting block is going to be for future elections? Is that established? It's probably not. That's the only other point of contention that they have. It's a pretty big one, I guess. They're trying to say that it's not, though.
Devin is trying to play it cool with everything, and I think that a lot of this stuff is upsetting him.
I think it is. Like, you can see him internalizing a lot of what's going on where he's not addressing it. He's just kind of bulldozing over any feelings that he has and is just continuing on.
I do totally understand that somebody gives you a prenup that they printed off the internet, that you probably want to take it to a lawyer and have a professional read through it before you sign it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Get a couple of sets of eyes on that and make sure that you're doing the right thing. Specifically, somebody with a legal background, particularly related to marriage law, not bird law, not anything else that would be unapplicable to this, and not just your mom.
He just seems very freaked out. Yeah, he does mention that he's going to have his parents read through it too, which, okay, seems unnecessary. His parents were very uncomfortable with it. I guess letting them read it could help or hurt the situation.
Eventually, we come to find out, yes, it did help them feel better, which makes him feel better. They do ultimately sign it.
Did they sign it properly, though? Because I'm not sure signing it on the couch in front of the production crew, like, it feels like a document that maybe you need to notarize.
Unless one of the producers is a notary, too, on set, who happens to be there, because a lot of times, yeah, they do have to sign contracts, waivers of release, and things like that to participate in these sort of filmed events. So
you think they just have a notary waiting behind the cameraman?
Maybe somebody from production is also /notary.
That girl who ran out with Taylor's phone. She's got a notary stamp in her back pocket.
That must be what's going on.
I don't know if that's even a true fact. It just feels like a document that needs to be notarized.
I would feel better if it was notarized. And then that's what Virginia's going to get upset about, is when I push back and say, yeah, I'll sign the prenup, but it needs to be notarized. And she'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's not get so official on this. This is just a paperwork thing that we just sign.
Her wedding dress, very sparkly, full of crystals. I know you hated it.
I can't do sparkles, guys. I fucking hate glitter with a passion.
It's not even the dress, though, because if the glitter and the sparkles stayed on the dress, that would be one thing, but they were all over her face and her hair.
I don't know if it was from the dress or if it was from the veil, but wherever the origin point of the glitter that is transferring to your body, get rid of it. Burn it.
There's glitter herpes.
Destroy
all
it.
All up in this dress place.
I cannot deal with that. If I showed up, if I were standing at the altar on decision day, and you came down in that dress, I would have hesitations.
You wouldn't want to hold my hand.
My
glitter encrusted hand.
If you would reach out covered in glitter, I don't know if I'd be able, I don't know what I would do with that at that point. And that's nothing personal to you.
Like, it's a hard life. This is what we talk about when people say that there's compromise in marriage, because I can't buy glittery Christmas bags.
You still do.
Okay, a lot of them have made them into our house because other people have given them to us. Just to be clear.
Yes, and then you keep them, and then you reuse them.
I don't want to throw out a very good bag.
I know.
I'm just going to give gift them to other people. I don't put them under our tree.
But it kills me inside a little bit, just the way it would to throw out a decently good Christmas bag for you.
There's give and take. There you go.
Yeah.
They went on a horse-drawn carriage ride, which I thought was all they were going to do. But they arrive at a dinner tasting that was like Italian, according to the chef.
And it was something, he was talking about bites, and I was like, I'm going to need something more substantial than that.
Why was the food just on like little pedestals?
They were 2 little prepped plates that it was an hors d'oeuvre on each one. And that's what you get.
That was the whole meal. I did see them put a lot of truffle on something, but I don't think we saw them eat that.
And then whatever meat was there, that looked good. But can I just get more of whatever this is?
This was better than how much they were served at the glamping thing that Ben and Sara did.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I need to circle back on the horse-drawn carriage ride, too, because why were we were running through a residential neighborhood? Did they pick them up at their home to take them to this? There were cars that were passing them by.
Where do you think you get a horse-drawn carriage in Minneapolis? Outside of the Mall of America? Is that where they start? Is that the final destination?
I hope not.
I just feel like that's a place where a lot of people gather. So normally horse-drawn carriages, like you find them outside of Central Park. Like there has to be a lot of foot traffic for you to just come across horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah, see, this just feels like an inconvenience. If it's not going to pick you up someplace where you already are, you're going to have to go out of your way.
I think it's like an Uber.
To go get picked up by it, or you have to meet them at wherever this horse has its stable, I guess. I can't get into the horse drama, though. We already run into issues with that.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. We already have the hobby horse community up in arms.
Still, to this day, I'm still getting emails, guys.
The gift that he gave her at dinner, the golden basketball that says Team Buckley on it. Thoughts?
Buckley's Angel. Okay, that's all I keep thinking of. I know, it's for me, it always goes back to King of the Hill, but
I felt like, wow, way to steamroll past the fact that she's not interested in basketball.
Just keep forcing it on her until it just sort of takes. It just becomes part of the family dynamic. Because not only the basketball, but also the jerseys, too.
Sorry, that was just such a great intro for Ben and Sara.
Oh, just keep bulldozing until it takes?
I think that's what he's trying to do with taking her to church, with
that's
religion.
The angle. Take me to church. That's Ben's angle. Yeah, basically, is just repetition.
We start off with them, though. The biggest problem that they have encountered is this girl on TikTok who will not stop posting about what a piece of shit Ben is. So there's this outside noise that they're dealing with. And then, of course, there's the concern over whether or not Ben is actually comfortable around Sara's sister and partner.
So Sara has them meet up in person and they all hang out at a bar, and it seems to go pretty okay, pretty well.
I really liked her sister and her sister's partner.
Me too. And they have some concerns. Just seeing the dynamic between Sara and Ben.
Yeah, they got some reads.
Similar concerns as to what you've heard here on this podcast.
Well, I saw their eyes grow larger at some of the same words that my eyes bulged out of my head at when Ben said them. Because he keeps talking about acceptance and... Or was that Sara? Sara was bragging about how Ben accepts LGBTQ people.
That's the scary part, is that it's Sara saying some of the stuff that Ben usually says. But I think that was stuff that he had quoted from his church beliefs and ideology. At one point, he was talking about how he was trying to find their stance on LGBTQ, but it's not something you can just Google search.
Can I tell you also how weird it is that they keep saying, what is the stance on LGBTQ?
It doesn't come up on...
What do you mean, LGBTQ people?
Well...
Not just, what's the stance on LGBT?
And it's not something that you just put on a website. Really? Is it because it's fucking atrocious? Is that why you can't just put it on?
They don't want to advertise the things that, the hatred they have towards certain groups of people, because then they might not get you in the door.
Is that why? Maybe is that a reason?
No way. And we have gone to churches before That's in the past. But there is no way that you go to church every Sunday.
It's been a while. I think it's only gotten worse,
okay,
probably.
you tell me, is there a way that you possibly go to church every Sunday and you have no idea from the sermons where your church stands on important social issues?
Depends on how much you're listening. Based
You
on,
think
we did see
Ben
footage.
just disassociates the whole time?
Did you see him at the service? We saw him sitting for the sermon with his arm around Sara and just clocked out. Dude's gone.
He smiled a lot.
The lights are on, but nobody's home. He knows what to do in church. He knows what face to have. He's not listening. He's 1,000 miles away. He's in his own head.
The both of them were fidgeting through the entire thing.
Because
uncomfortable.
Well, the word for word sermon that was going on was a lot of take my wife, please, 90s stand-up routine. And
that's how a lot of it starts.
That's how a lot of it is. It's, poking fun at and chipping away at the marital relationship there.
We didn't get to see the part of the sermon that had the biggest impact on Sara and her decisions about moving forward, but I don't want to go past what was going on with Sara and her sister because I think that this was probably a defining moment for Sara.
She kept asking them for their approval, their blessing. She wanted their blessing. And they're like, what does that mean? What are you asking for us? Like, this is your decision. This is up to you. And Sara's then saying, well, he needs to fit in with our family and our relationship dynamic too. And that's really important to me. So I need you guys to be on board with him as much as I am.
I wish that they had been a little bit more honest about how they were feeling about the things that were being said. Because I saw concern on their faces.
And descriptive. I wish they could have been more descriptive because Sara is sticking to the fact that I've gotten to know Ben and I feel like I do know Ben and I know he is a good guy at his core. I don't know if they made it abundantly clear that maybe you don't know the real Ben yet. You didn't get to real Ben. You're still at the surface level of what he's projecting as perfect Ben, because that's how you're holding him in such high regards. Nobody's perfect, Sara.
She seems very optimistic to me. And that's kind of like a downfall when you're getting to know somebody because you avoid a lot of the very blatantly obvious issues that are going to come up eventually.
But then she does have good conversations. She is bringing this up. It is a concern for her, and it is coming up at multiple interactions with them, because then eventually they do go on their glamping date too, where this kind of comes to a head, where Ben's tired of defending this. He's tired of talking about it. It seems like it's just driving a wedge in their relationship now and taking away from all these great other things that he's been able to build up about himself that she's really into. It's kind of distracting. It's not really working for me.
You know, your concern about how I feel about your sister and her partner, I wish we could just stop talking about that because it's a real bummer for me.
It's not really working in my favor because I'm not able to win you over on that one like I have everywhere else. So can we talk about those ones instead?
And she did hear something in the sermon that was an issue, which was, I don't even know if I can accurately describe it.
Well, you have to be careful quoting a sermon.
That's what I'm worried
because,
about.
These are not Carly's words.
The way in which they described it, I was just like, oh my God.
It was problematic. Just the way it was brought up, one, the comparison that it drew, two, and then the verbiage that was used to describe it was also just, it's all bad.
That's why I'm struggling.
I don't know what the train of thought was. And
because it doesn't make sense.
And I'm not getting on board. I'm not buying tickets, and you can kick me off and ban me from it. I don't care. So the issue that she had was that that's not really something that I agree with. And Ben is shocked to hear that's what the sermon was about, because you actually listened to that. I just zone out.
Okay, Sara, girl, the fact that he didn't bring it up to you coming out of the service, don't you think that if you go to church with someone and you know that something you've talked about in depth, that is a value of theirs about how the LGBTQ community is treated, especially thinking about going to church. You hear something that is said during the sermon. You took her here to impress her and give her a good opinion about this place that you come every week. You don't immediately walk out and say, hey, I think we should talk about that because I didn't really agree with it either, or I wanted to see how you felt because I know that it may have made you uncomfortable.
Because what becomes very apparent on their glamping trip, and in that part of the conversation specifically, is when she's voicing all of her concerns about how that doesn't sound like equality, that doesn't sound like acceptance, that doesn't sound like approval. And Ben kind of ponders to himself and goes, yeah, I don't agree with any of that either. Yes, we know, because she just brought it up, and now you're parroting everything back to her that she already believes. So then she thinks that you guys are aligned on everything. She thinks that you have the same thoughts and opinions as her because you are repeating them and regurgitating them right in front of her after she goes on for the reasoning and the logic behind why this is upsetting to her.
That's also what I did not like.
It's scary because that's the who the bleep did I marry kind of formula.
Not great that he waits for you to state your opinion on something before he tells you what his is.
She doesn't agree with me on everything. Sometimes I say I don't like something and she says she doesn't like it either.
So she pitches the idea. I'm not completely closed off to going to church now, but this church, I don't think that I see myself going to on a regular basis. Maybe we can find a new church together that feels like it holds the same values that we both have, and not much engagement from him.
Maybe around holidays. I could do a good Christmas service, maybe Easter here and there, family stuff, but not the every week, man.
I would have so many more questions for him coming out of this, because if that's something you disagree with that's being talked about at a place that he goes every week and he feels like he takes things away from it that are helping him to better himself in his life, what else is a big value of yours that maybe is not in alignment with what is being talked about there?
Because he shifts very quickly to the greater good. I've had so many overall good experiences here in the long run for my entire life that I can remember back to. There hasn't been any sort of issues that have come up ever at this church.
Well, you've had no indication that maybe that's how people who lead the church feel about certain issues.
You're going to have something that comes up.
Their wedding is the first wedding that we get to see. Or at least we get to see it up until the moment of whether or not they're going to say yes.
The MVP, it's Sara's dad.
I loved him.
Sarah's
Her
dad.
stepdad, yeah.
Yeah.
He was the quintessential Midwestern dad.
He got there a little late, had some trouble parking the tractor probably. There was, it only goes 5 miles an hour.
Now, leading up to this, it seemed like Sara was an all-in yes. Did you feel the same way?
I think she was still hesitant.
The only hesitation I got from her was that last date that they had. Other than that, everything has seemed to have been great. She's just been glossing over all the indications that there could be problems.
And she's still convincing everyone around her the whole time while they're preparing, while they're getting makeup done, while she's getting dressed, she's getting her hair done. Yes, this is great. Ben is perfect. It's awesome. I'm trusting the process. I'm doing all of these things that I feel like I am compelled to do. And then she has an aside interview with us on the cameras, and she's saying, my heart says yes. My head's saying, maybe not.
I was so nervous because until we saw her say that, it didn't seem like she was verbalizing anything.
That was scary.
Yeah, but you were seeing moments of sadness flash in her eyes. That's what I was interpreting from the conversation she was having with her mom. It just seemed like there were all these nice things being said. Her family is being super supportive. No matter what you do, we're going to support you either way. But you can tell she's still inside her head. She still hasn't decided, which is kind of shocking.
That seems to be the strategy for a couple of folks where they're not going to know. They're not going to make up their mind until the day of.
I want to know what the producers do to them at the last minute to get them finally thinking. Because a lot of the relationships are everything's great. We're so in alignment. I've never met somebody who makes me feel this way. I loved being in the pods. I can't wait for our future. And then it's time to walk down the aisle and panic sets in.
Well, here's the problem. It's a television show, and they're asking the questions of what do you like about this person for most of those episodes in between, and that's what they're dropping in. They are still asking those questions of, hey, what are your doubts? What are you thinking? What are you holding back on? What are your hesitations? So that they can bank those for later and say, hey, have you come to a consensus on all of these things that you were worried about this whole entire time that we didn't include as part of the show for these other episodes, but now we're going to drop in on your wedding day? Nope, I'm still wrestling with all of that.
See, I don't like that about this show. I don't want to see a fairy tale love story that isn't real. And then at the 11th hour, people start to worry about what the future is going to be like.
I want to see people worry all day, every day.
Exactly.
That's all I want.
If they showed us that, though, we probably would have a better idea of who's going to get married and who's not.
That's exactly what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, right before Ben walks out, his mom and his grandma start talking to him about how God's hands are on him and they pray.
Gross, but okay.
And then they walk down the aisle. I don't know if Sara totally understands how religious this family is.
I think she had met his mom, though. She was singing his mom's praises, how she's so sweet. She's so nice. I think if she
I get
heard...
that this is a big moment, and if you're a religious family, that's probably the types of words of encouragement that you're going to give someone before they walk off and get married.
If Sara heard that conversation, though, I think it would freak her out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it does not seem like they have the same approach to life.
No.
Or does Ben not really feel like he is that religious? He's just going through the motions because this is what he's been expected to do his entire life?
That was what the read was that I kind of got from him, because he wasn't really saying or confirming anything. It was mostly them saying that stuff to him. So is it something that he's not really that into, but he knows he would lose familial support if he wasn't interested in religion? Would he have that same support if he wasn't on board in the same ways?
No idea, because we didn't get to know Ben well enough this whole season.
Don't know. Ben is a mystery.
As Ben is stating his vows to her, I saw Sara seem completely emotionally disconnected. She didn't seem like she was in the moment anymore. So my feeling is she's going to say no.
Yeah, they leave it on a cliffhanger. We don't know. Ben is all in, but they start the questioning with Sara. So they ask her first, and we don't know what the answer is. We're going to have to wait until next week.
I hope that the wedding episode is a good one, because I felt like last season it wasn't very exciting.
It was boring just because it was one couple that everybody knew was going to end up together, and then one couple that shouldn't end up together, but they still went through it. So there wasn't anything that we were really excited about. Were there only two couples that got married last season?
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
There's a lot more. I think there's more couples that we're not sure about this season than there was last season. So that's an exciting element, but they're really going to have to get this moving, because I don't need to see a montage of every one of these couples in the pods.
Absolutely not.
You made me watch the pods for 6 episodes. I don't need to have a walk down memory lane.
Don't put me back in the pods.
As they're going down the aisle.
Please don't put me back in the pods, guys.
Let us know what you guys are thinking about this season.
Who's going to end up together next week? Let us know in the comments.
What do you think about Love is Blind? Like, there's been a couple of seasons that people haven't been really crazy about at this point. So is it something that you're going to continue to watch the next time that a season comes out?
Is it an issue with the dating pool in Minneapolis specifically for casting a reality show like this? I'm sorry, a social experiment.
Yeah,
because
we can't
we're
call it a reality show.
Not allowed to call it a reality show, even though that's kind of what it is.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.